to hear "Keep Right On." I'm thinking, because obviously we haven't been to the ground for ages. I heard it puts a chill down my spine,
Yeah.
And we had a really good support. I don't know how many Blues fans were there, but it looked like a good following in Portugal. But I just wanted to say, Matt, well done to the Blues fans as well, who travelled all the way out to Portugal, provided fantastic support. It shows you what a well-supported team you are, but you did yourself proud, so thanks for that.
And just to back up that note, Dad, Chris Davies barking at the fourth official like it was the Champions League final in the pre-season friendly. All those things add up to a great team culture and a club culture, doesn't it? So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue, and it's mega exciting to be back for our first post-match review for the 25-26 campaign. And fair enough, I know it was a pre-season friendly, but it was a 3-1 victory over Seville. It was great to see Chris Davies, great to see the boys back in action. And we do know it was a game of two halves. We had 11 started in the first and 11 started in the second. So we always take these pre-season friendlies with a pinch of salt. But it was great to see us carrying on that momentum from the previous season. We looked really set up, really solid. And in this video, we're going to go through that performance and talk about some positives, some negatives, and our overall thoughts. So, Dad, Birmingham City 3, Seville 1, or the reverse. What are your thoughts?
Well, let's get into context. You've mentioned a few times, Matt, it is a pre-season friendly. Right? And I'll say let's get into a context because it was a fantastic victory in terms of the result against a really top-quality Spanish side. We know that they're a Premier League side. They've won European trophies, so they've got a good history. But it was a pre-season friendly. And I say that because thinking back 12 months to the pre-season friendly last season against Paderborn in Austria when we lost 5-0 and the reaction to that. This is why we have to put this into context because actually, fantastic result. Good to see little snippets of some of the new players. But ultimately, the result was brilliant. Yeah, we beat Seville, but it is a pre-season friendly. And I don't know the quality of their team. Obviously, what we normally do when we do post-match analysis is we'd normally have researched the team first. I didn't. So I don't know an awful lot about the whether they were playing youngsters or there wasn't many recognisable names in the Seville team that I saw. Apart from Adnan Januzaj was the only one I could really remember for he used to be at Manchester United.
But Seville are a big Spanish team. They've won the European trophies before. Very established. Very big side in Spain, so there's no doubt about it. Even as a pre-season friendly, it was still a good victory. And I like your point, Dad. And I think what you're getting at is when you lose a pre-season friendly, don't blow it out of proportion. But when you win, don't get too carried away.
Don't blow it out of proportion.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly the point I'm making, Matt. It's great. This doesn't mean to say that we're it means that we're progressing well because actually, it was performance-wise, considering it was our first pre-season friendly, the energy levels were there, weren't they? There was one thing that I smiled at. I think a lot of Blues fans before the game, want to see Kyogo, want to see Fujimoto, and all these. But of course, the team that actually started the game was a very familiar team. I'm just going to read through the starting. This is the first half team because, as you mentioned, Matt, there was a second half team as well. But it could have been. This could have been a championship, a League One team selection last season. Allsop in goal, Ethan Laird, Christophe Klarer, Phil Neumann. Nice to see him start. Paik, Tomoki Iwata, Willem Williamson, Zaid Beteka got a start, and we'll talk about him because he did quite well. Keshi Anderson and Jay Stansfield. So with the omission of with the introduction of Neumann and Beteka, everybody else you'd expect to see in our League One starting lineup, wouldn't you?
One of the biggest takeaways I got from it was the squad depth that we have. Now I know we're in pre-season, we're going to see some departures, we're going to see more people come in, so we don't know what our fully settled squad's going to be by the time the championship rolls around. But the fact that we managed to pitch 2 11-a-side teams with really high quality. In the second half, we had Marc Leonard, Taylor Gardner-Hickman, a real sort of solid second half teams. Now, we know that the first half was more solid, the press, the energy, I think that the quality was slightly higher, and then the second half, naturally, when you make that amount of subs and they were down, they're going to come at you a little bit more. It was going to be a little bit more flat. We totally get that. But overall, as a statement, I thought we played really well. I thought, as I said, the energy was there. I feel like we look like a team that's well gelled now. When we started last season, we had that. It looked a bit clunky. We weren't quite there, and you could tell Chris Davies was new. The players were new. We were all getting used to each other. Even though that was a pre-season friendly, even though we had 22 different players on the pitch at different points, it still felt like a well-oiled machine, in my opinion. And like I said, overall, one word comes to mind for me: solid.
He was solid, wasn't he? Well, I don't know if you watched Chris Davies' post-match comments, and there's a couple of things that he said that I really liked. I love listening to him. He's always very professional, isn't he? He comes across really well. Firstly, he was saying about some of the timing of some of the players. He talked about obviously Demarai Gray hadn't even travelled. He was back in the UK.
He'd been playing with Jamaica though, hadn't he?
Yeah, and there's reasons for it. And he said, like, Kanya Fujimoto was training on his own, so he was a couple of weeks away or behind the rest of the players. He talked about Tomoki Kyojo is likely to be seen in the next game. So Tommy Doyle, it was planned it would only have 30, 35 minutes, which is exactly what happened. So each player has an individual fitness plan, and I think what the club are doing is appreciating. You can't just bang all these new additions in and it's okay, right, okay, lads, off you go. It's a very planned and measured and purposeful introduction to the way that they're actually bringing them into the team. I think, a few fans were a bit disappointed not to see Kyogo and Fujimoto, not knowing the history of them. But overall, as you said, Matt, I mean, for the first half, I mean, it was interesting because we pressed and they tried to press as well, didn't they? So it was two teams that pressed. So there was a lot of attacking football, and lots of the opposition in both cases were trying to force mistakes.
Yeah. I felt like we got the better of that exchange. I mean, clearly because we went 2-0 up, but I felt like, I mean, when I was watching it, Dad, Stansfield's been on international duty for England under-21s.
I didn't expect to see him, Matt.
He was just relentless. The energy Stansfield had is absolutely wild. And
crazy.
Keshi, Biteka, Williamson, the fullbacks, everyone, their pressing was absolutely incredible, and I thought we caused them no end of bother in that first half. I mean, to be fair, they pressed us quite well as well. They forced us into a couple of unforced errors, but overall, I thought we looked really good, really sharp, and that was the one big thing, as well as our squad depth, our energy levels in that heat as well. I mean, fair enough. I know it was evening, so it would have been slightly cooler, but England generally compared to Spain is a lot different climate and cooler. And the fact that we managed to do it in a cool Spanish evening to have the energy and that press and that stamina already.
It was in Portugal, wasn't it?
Sorry, in Portugal.
Yeah, in Portugal, it was Albufeira, wasn't it?
It was, in Portugal.
But again, climate-wise, there's very similar, aren't there, between Spain and Portugal anyway.
Exactly.
So I do get your point. But yeah, I mean, from my point of view, it was what I want to see in a first pre-season friendly. I think last season the difference is that we only made a couple of signings at that point. Alfie May had only just joined, and there's a lot of youngsters in that team against Paderborn. This time we looked like a proper team already in the first half. What Chris Davies did say also in his post-match comments was that Sevilla are about a week and a half behind us fitness-wise. Right. But he did say he must be working the Blues players hard because they're having double sessions.
Right.
I saw a snippet. I think it was on X, just a snippet of someone interviewing Phil Neumann, one of the Blues things that the Birmingham City put out, and he asked him how you think. I'm tired, but that's really,
and that's a centre half as well.
Yeah,
and on that note, Dad, that segues us quite well. From the first half, I thought it was good to see our energy and just to see the Blues back playing football was great, weren't it? See Chris Davies on the sideline barking at the four officials. All these things were wonderful to see. But for me, there was two takeaways in terms of individual performances. One was Neumann, absolute unit, isn't he? He's an absolute tank. Yeah. Him and Klarer this season are going to be absolutely indestructible, I think. And also, it was great to see Biteka. New youngster coming in again. Will he be a squad player this season? Will we loan him out for experience because he's only 17? I think he is.
Yeah.
I thought he did fantastic, and that kind of leads on to the first goal, really. I mean, I don't know whether you want how specifically breakdown you want to go into this podcast, Dad, but I thought for the first goal when he played in Keshi Anderson, the awareness he had to penetrate into that space, the assist, the vision, I thought, he had a great first half.
He'd weighted the ball lovely, didn't he, as well? Brilliant. For Keshi ran onto it nicely, didn't he? It was really a really good place for Keshi just to run, burst and shoot and chipped it into the middle of the goal, past the goalkeeper. Yeah, he played well, Biteka. I mean, he was full of energy. You'd expect that from a young lad, though, to be running around. I think that's the problem with not the problem, but that's sometimes an issue with when you introduce younger players into a fairly well-established team. It's like when we had Ramel Donovan when he made his debut. He'd buzz around everywhere. I saw Biteka doing that as well, but the difference was, I think Biteka had some good touches and
he was effective.
Was involved, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
In quite a few good passages of play. That was a good goal, wasn't it? I was pleased to see that go in.
I was happy for Keshi as well, Dad, because we've signed quite a lot of attacking players this summer so far, and rightly so, because definitely those attacking three and moving forward, that is definitely where we would need to improve on from last season moving forward. But it's great for Keshi to get a goal, because he was great last season for us. I think he was surprised, I think, a lot of fans with how solid and how consistent he was. So good to see Keshi Anderson get on the score sheet.
You mentioned Neumann as well, Matt, because I think as Blues fans, we're naturally going to focus on the newer players, and watched him a few times. As you like you say, does look comfortable on the ball already. What I really liked, he made that one burst forward. He got fouled at the end of it, but he reminded me of just going forward because he's so big, isn't he, and so solid. I don't know if you remember years ago when Jonah Lomu used to play for the New Zealand All
I
Blacks.
remember, yeah, I did.
And like he'd be running through, and players would just literally trying to
Bouncing
tackle him,
off
but they're
him.
bouncing off him. And it wasn't quite like that with Neumann, but he's got that air about him, hasn't he? About, no, I'm a solid player here.
Although when he went down, I thought, oh no, get back up quickly. I was like, oh, he better not have picked up a knock immediately in the first pre-season friendly. But I think players like Neumann and Klarer, even when they get little nicks and knocks, they're so solid. It just doesn't seem to affect them as much as it would do a Flair or a different kind of player, does it? They're just brick walls.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Klarer. Did you see he did that quick free kick and he flicked it to Laird, who volleyed it first time? If that had gone in, what a great goal that would have
been a screamer, wouldn't it?
And he made good contact with it as well. I mean, I suppose you can't really criticise it because you could say he should have knocked it in the corner. But when the ball comes like that, you're just trying to make contact and see where it goes. But it forced a good save out the goalkeeper. Yeah. I've got the Klarer goal as well. One thing I thought about the goal for Klarer as well. Firstly, it was a set piece, which is good, isn't it? Because it originated from a corner. Yeah. What I liked about it, and I know he gets a lot of stick, or he has done for the second half of the season. Williamson made a right pest of himself to force them to,
In fact, the ref stopped the game for a minute to have a word, didn't he? Because those two players were shoving so aggressively.
But I'm saying the goal was because the ball came across, and Williamson was like making a right pest of himself, and eventually the ball fell free, and Klarer just hoofed it into the roof. And it was a good finish as well. But again, he gets into those positions, and he was in that position because it was a corner. And I'd like to see, I don't know about Blues fans think, but I'd like to see us be much more effective on set pieces. We got a little bit better towards the latter part of the season, but the pressure was off then. We'd already got promoted and we'd won the league and everything, but I'd like to see more consistency in terms of our set pieces, and we'll come on to the third goal in a minute. Obviously,
to be honest, just to back you up on that, Chris Davies has even admitted last season that set pieces were a particular part of the Blues game and strategy that he know that they need to improve on for next season. He admitted that himself, because although we scored a fair amount from set pieces last season, if you looked at it from a percentage conversion of how many corners we got and free kicks we got to goals scored, it was really low. It was like 4th or 5th lowest in the whole of League One. Yeah. And considering we won the league by 111 points, how many missed opportunities is that?
I know. And I think that's something they'll work on. And I think with the fact we got Neumann as well, who'll come up for corners. He's 6'4", isn't he?
Yeah, he's massive.
And so he's going to add a physical threat for those type of things as well. Second half, as you mentioned, Matt, it was a completely different team. So the starting lineup for the second half was James Beadle, came in to make his debut, Taylor Gardner-Hickman, Burrell, who obviously one of our younger lads, Bielek, Alfie Chang, Tommy Doyle, Marc Leonard, George Hall, Lyndon Dykes. What's Bateman's first name? I did have his name there. Sorry, I do apologise if you're watching. There's a young lad called Bateman and Alfie May. All of them started as obviously the second half. So as you mentioned, it's completely turnaround. And I did think at half time, I knew for a fact that we were going to make, because you're always doing these pre-season friendlies, you make loads of substitutions, and just felt at 2-0 up against a decent side that the substitutions might ruin the flow of the game. But actually, when you watch the way we play in that second half, the identity of the team is still playing the same style, still doing the same press. Yeah, there were one or two little aspects of lack of quality slightly in the second half, and where we nearly give a goal away, didn't we, the young lads? But in the end, actually, what he did was he did give the ball away, but I know he shouldn't have fouled, but he did. But at least he stopped the attack. He gave away a free kick, which came to nothing anyway. So yeah, but that can happen to any player as well.
Especially that, again, because I know we're going to come to the Seville goal in a minute with the Beadle thing, and I know the comments from when Blues posted that we conceded, and obviously everyone knew at that point that Beadle had passed it, and Taylor Gardner-Hickman didn't quite get there and they scored. It is just pre-season. I get it. It's frustrating. We don't want to see our goalkeepers and players making mistakes. I do get it. But in my opinion, I think we need to ease up a little bit. It's pre-season.
It is pre-season, and this is the time to make these types of errors. And I do think, let's we talk about that goal.
Yeah, well, why not? It's popped up now.
We've spoken about it, isn't it? So basically, Beadle sees Taylor Gardner-Hickman running towards him and plays the ball at quite a pace, and obviously Taylor Gardner-Hickman can't control it. The player takes it and just knocks it past Beadle. It was a sloppy goal.
It was 100%.
It was a mistake, and obviously I saw social media as well. Everyone's saying that pass should never have been made, but I can think of a few instances last year when Allsop made the same, particularly Northampton away when Tomoki Wata scored that own goal in exactly the same situation, but Allsop passed him to him in the middle of the pitch and it pinged off him and went in. Yeah. So it's something that the team, it's not just a Beadle Taylor Gardner-Hickman problem. It's something that the team have got to watch, because other opposition teams are going to continue to press us.
Also, when we're playing out from the back, that one pass is such a risky one when the goalkeeper's trying to break the first line in through to the midfield. Again, we know this playing out from the back is going nowhere. I'm not saying, again, let's abandon principles, but that one particular pass that sometimes we all stop at Northampton, Bede will do it, and then Taylor Gardner Hitman, it's if you get it wrong, it's often more times than not you're going to concede a goal.
Yeah, because the opposition manager is just going to say to whoever their forward is, you just stay when they've got the ball or their goalkeeper's got the ball. Stay tight on either their centre half or their defensive midfielder, whoever's likely to be passing the ball. They're going to know this. It's going to be a tactic. So if you're a goalkeeper and you're going to make a pass like that, the goalkeeper is the one that's got the vision to see what's going on around. Taylor Gardner Hitman, I'm not defending him here because I think he was capable as well for that goal in terms of his lack of control. But it was a fast ball. But Beadle has got the view, the goalkeeper, Beadle or Allsop, have got the view of the pitch, so they can see players coming onto them. So if you've got like 3 players or a couple of players pressing you, don't make that ball. If anything, in those situations, if you just try and do a long ball in those situations. I know Chris Davies likes to play from the back, but that can't be at the cost of conceding lots of goals.
Of course not.
We will. I mean, I without a doubt, I know that we are, like all teams, we are going to concede goals that way. We'll concede, hopefully not many, but every team's going to be trying to play that way and make the same mistakes, I believe.
The good thing is that, and I think you've noticed this as well, I think obviously Blues fans will have noticed this, we are progressively getting better at it. When we started doing it at first, we were all on the edge of our seats, quite literally heart attack football, because we'd never seen it down the Blues before after Eustace, had we? Then obviously, I won't talk about our history. Rooney came in and tried it and then didn't work out, but then Chris Davies came in and implemented it properly with the players, and I think we're all still adjusting to it slightly. It's going nowhere, but we are definitely, as a team, getting better. My adrenaline doesn't kick in as fast at St.Andrews as it did, at the start of last season. I think, as I said, as a team, you spoke about the second half, Dad, the DNA of the team not changing, the strategy, the way we played, and it kind of plays into that, really. I think consistently we are getting better at that whole playing out from the back thing. And I think we'll only get even better as we move forward as well.
Yeah, I think so, Matt. And, I think that you can see between the first half team and the second half team that they're all looking and playing the same type and style of football, okay? Now, there was a lot more not a lot more. There was a few younger players in the starting lineup for the second half. And in that, I still classify Alfie Chang and George Hall in there.
George Hall looked shattered after about 10 minutes. I don't know what's wrong. I mean, I don't know whether he's still recovering from the injury that he picked up at Warsaw. He looked exhausted.
Well, if he weren't fit, Chris Davies wouldn't have had him in the team to play. But, I mean...
I don't know. By the way, I'm not criticizing. It's just an observation to me. When someone stands out like a sore thumb with their fitness. In the first half, we spoke about Stansfield and our energy, and you could notice that they were high and pressing. I noticed that George Hall just seemed really tired and flat. But
one thing I did find strange about the second half, though, Matt, is Alfie May seemed to be playing on the right, and Lyndon Dykes was in the number 9. Yeah. That's what seemed to be. I mean, in fact, there was one good chance, actually. Alfie crossed the ball for Lyndon, who the ball bounced and he headed it. It was an easy save for the goalkeeper, but he was on target. Yeah. But there wasn't too much of many sort of clear-cut chances like that.
And I know he has his critics, Dad, and I get it. There's definitely a couple of chances he should have put away last season. I thought Lyndon Dykes had a really good half as well. As in just being a nuisance, physical, and I still stand by it. He gives us a different outlet to all the other strikers that we have. No one can quite do what he does in terms of that. He's a bit like Yuki, physical, bit of a target man. I think he's still going to play an important role this year. In terms of when we do play a Eustace team, a Gary Rowett team, or some that when teams are playing on the back foot sometimes, and they're just difficult to break down. Sometimes when you play Chris Davies' style of football and you can't quite break through, you need a bit of a physical target man up top. I think Lyndon Dykes will be good in those kind of games, in my opinion. And I think he showed us last night how a nuisance he can be. Yeah,
and maybe when we're chasing the game as well, he might be an option as well. After about 70 minutes, Doyle came off because obviously that was the allocated time, replaced by Bright Say Samuel.
Yes,
it's nice to see him as well.
Quick.
He's going to give Laird a good bit of competition. He looks fast, doesn't he?
He's quick.
He looks really, really fast. So it's good to see him come on. So. Nice little battle developing between those two. See how they get on.
By the way, when Doyle went off again, in the comment section on social media, all the Blues fans were going, "Why is Doyle going off? What's going on?" Also, he's only played 45 minutes. He's not played a minute of football since the first week in January.
Well, Chris Davies said that it was planned. It would only have 35 minutes. I think that's good management. That's good coaching. That's realising. Because what happens is if you put a player in that hasn't played much game time, they're going to pick up injuries. It could be a hamstring, could be a calf. Could be
Yeah.
do a twist or something like that. So you've got to get them up to those.
Pre-season's all about fitness levels and
Yeah.
cementing positions and allowing players to try new things and the managers try new things. Again, we shouldn't take pre-season too seriously. And the fact Tommy Dawes came in and played 35 minutes just to get his fitness back up, there's nothing wrong with that. As you say, good management.
He looked good as well to me.
did.
Some good touches. Good energy levels while he was there. But and then obviously we talked about their goal because it was 2-1 at that point. Then Marc Leonard steps up with the free kick.
Right.
Oh my word! I mean that was a real quality goal. I was hoping, when he got it, because we always knew before we came to Blues he had a reputation of having a good shot on him. And I'm thinking that. Go for it, don't cross it. And even he said, I listened to him after the match as well, interview with I can't remember what's his name, that chap that's
Will Frazier.
Will
Brazier,
Brazier, and he said that there was a bit of a breeze there, and he thought it probably wouldn't be best to cross it, so he thought I'm just going to have a go, and he did. Top bin, wasn't it?
Nice.
So what a goal! Yeah, and I'm pleased for him as well because that shows you the quality, and maybe that's a bit of a nudge to Chris Davies. Hang on, I'm here. I want to play in this team, and I'm going to play a big part this season.
Because there has been rumours, hasn't there, about Leonard going out on loan somewhere, maybe, or maybe being sold or whatever that might be. But again, when we talk about a long season, Dad, suspensions, injuries, cup games. Again, like I just mentioned about Lyndon Dykes playing a part this season, I think Marc Leonard has a part to play as well.
I hope we keep him, Matt. I mean, we've got Paker Water, Tommy Doyle, and him as a four. Taylor Gardner-Hickman potentially could play there as well.
I think what Marc Leonard showed us last night as well, Dad, on the Saturday evening for the Seville game, he's really upped his defensive capabilities. I thought he was breaking up play a little bit better, getting stuck in a little bit more. And he's a top player, Marc Leonard. I would be gutted to see him go out on loan or even be sold. But really hope he stays. He wants to fight for that position. Chris Davies can keep him motivated, and top player.
He is, isn't he? But overall, Matt, we can't complain, can we? It's a friendly against a top Spanish side. Yeah, they're at a different, slightly behind us on their pre-season, but we still won the game. Lots of positives in terms of the energy levels, the fitness of the players. Clearly, you can see the style of play; it's all there. So there's clearly something that's actually sort of developing here in terms of a really good quality team. Really pleased to see, the way that the players, responded to the way Chris Davies wanted them to play. And one thing I really liked as well was there was a couple of mini skirmishes during the game, where the players come together. I think
I'm not surprised. They were getting well dirty in the second half, weren't they?
Yeah, but what I loved was, again, all the Blues players were straight in, looking after each other, and I like that. But it's a proper team, isn't it?
I think, Dad, Allsop loves being in goal just as much as he loves the ball. Because in the second half, he made that amazing save. 2 minutes later, he runs 60 yards to get involved in the ruck. He's mad for it.
Oh, yeah, let's not forget that as well. That's first half. That's a great save by Allsop as well. Again, good play by them, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think they were quite pacey on their right-hand side, weren't they?
Yeah,
and
decent,
I think we had a few times where they'd gone through to cross, but that was, and you could see that they were good football inside because obviously getting the ball around quite well. But that was a good save from Allsop. It shows you that when he's needed,
he's a decent shot stopper. But it made me laugh that 2 minutes later he's running off the pitch to get involved in the ruck. But it backs up your point that Chris Davies in the changing room says you don't even think it's instinctive when your brother's in trouble, you back him up. So it's like that thing, isn't it, that the team have really got their back now. And again, I always reference it. QPR away, Drama gets his nose cut and his lip cut, and the players just standing around. It was embarrassing. So it's nice to see the fight, the passion, the spirit, and the boys have each other's back. It's great to see.
It is good signs, Matt. I mean, obviously that's the pre-season tour of Portugal done now, so they're on the way back. And I think Wednesday it's Solihull Moors in the Arthur Cup, which is the next one. Then there's a double header on the weekend. So basically the ball's rolling now.
I must admit though, Dad, all those, don't get me wrong, pre-season friendlies are great. I know we need to work to it, but I cannot wait to that Ipswich game. It's going to be incredible. I'm sure a lot of Blues fans can't wait for it either. But
Yeah, me neither. So great start. Really excited about the up and coming season. That Seville friendly has made me even more excited.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it? So as always, Birmingham City supporters, we would love to hear from you. It's great, wasn't it? It's great to see Chris Davies. Great to see the boys back in action. And as always, even though it's pre-season friendly, it's great to keep that momentum from last season and get that win. But as always, we would love to hear from you. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments section.
So I was going to say, can I say something else very quickly?
Oh yeah, go.
I meant to say about the support from the fans as well. The Blues fans. I mean, do you know what? When the teams came out to hear "Keep Right On," I'm thinking, because obviously we haven't been to the ground for ages. I heard it puts a chill down my spine,
Yeah.
And we had a really good support. I don't know how many Blues fans were there, but it looked like a good following in Portugal. But yeah, I just wanted to say, Matt, well done to the Blues fans as well, who travelled
Yeah.
all the way out to Portugal, provided fantastic support. Shows you what a well-supported team you are. But you did yourself proud, so thanks for that.
And just to back up that note, Dad, Chris Davies barking at the fourth official like it was the Champions League final in the pre-season friendly.
Yeah.
All those things add
Yeah.
up to a great team culture and a club culture, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So,
brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. Forgot where I was with that outro, but we'll continue anyway. So we'd love to hear from you. So please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and we're also over on Spotify, so you can listen and watch us over on that platform as well. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and press that bell notification so you get notified every time we post. And myself and Dad will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.